Hi guys, I hope that you're all really well. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you 7 tips to help you with a fournager. So a fournager is basically a child that has turned 4 and has just become a little bit unruly and a bit like terrible twos in their threenager, is throwing tantrums and just generally being quite hard work. But a fournager, I have found, has been the worst of them all, mainly because I think they just have so much more understanding and they know exactly how to sort of play you, and they know how to lie as well. So this video is going to be a collab with my lovely friend Jules. We are friends through Channel Mum and through YouTube. Jules is mum of 1. She is mum to Josh, who is the most adorable little boy ever. He reminds me a lot of Harry the way he looks. He just looks super cheeky. Jules talks about a lot of things on her channel. She talks about IVF because she has been through it, and she talks about adoption because her son Josh is adopted, and she also loves cooking, and she's also had Invisalign braces. So she's got a ton of videos that are quite similar to mine, but obviously a lot of IVF and adoption related things as well. So make sure after you've watched my video you pop on over to Jules' channel, watch her video, and don't forget to subscribe whilst you're there. So I'm just going to jump straight into my tips, and number 1 is to be prepared for questions. 4-year-olds seem to just ask so many questions, and I guess this one isn't so much a tip of how to deal with that, but it's just to warn you that you're gonna be faced with these questions. So basically anywhere we go, Harry has a question. We would go on like an hour-and-a-half car journey, and it can be question after question after question, and it's really hard not to just say, oh my god, can I just have 5 minutes peace? You just sort of got to remember that they are just learning all of the time, and when they become 4 they just become so much more inquisitive, and they want to know how things work, and they want to know how people feel and why they feel that way. I guess my tip would be to deal with this is to try and give the most simple answer to questions as possible. I find that if I go in depth a little bit too much, then Harry gets confused or he's asking more questions. So I just find if I give him quite a simple answer to his question, then he seems a lot more satisfied with the answer, and he'll sort of sit there and think, okay, that's acceptable. Number 2 is to praise good behaviour. So I will try and do this at least once a day. I'll sit at Harry's eye level and get him in like a quiet environment so he's got my full attention, and I would just say to him, Harry, I'm so proud of you. You were so good today. For example, yesterday we went to the dentist and he was like an absolute angel. It was me having the dentist appointment and he had to sit there watching me have all this stuff done. He sat for 45 minutes completely silent. I didn't bring any toys because I didn't realise how long I'd be there, and he just sat and watched and was just an absolute angel. And so when we got home I sat down and said, Harry, I'm so proud of you. You were such a good boy. That was so grown up of you. And he got a little treat for being good, and I say to him, you know, it's so nice when you're good, isn't it? It makes you feel good, it makes me feel good, and everybody's really happy. And I do find that you can see that he's like made up with how good he's been, and he's like really happy that I've said that I'm proud of him. So I just find the more praise I can give him, the less his behaviour is bad. Why do I always sneeze when I'm filming videos? I don't sneeze at any other time. So number 3 is to talk about feelings. So I think that's really important to make sure that our children don't grow up to sort of not talk about things and not realise that it's okay to feel a certain way. So I try to talk to Harry about the fact that if he's sad about something, I'm like, why do you feel sad? And we talk about that, and if he feels angry, I will try and, you know, say to him, it's okay to feel angry, but let's talk about why you're angry and try and resolve it. We just talk about how things make us feel and how feelings can be changed. So yeah, I just think that that's a really important tip, to talk about feelings and make like that communication happen. Also let Harry know how I'm feeling a lot of the time. So if he does do something naughty, and obviously I'm going to be angry, but a lot of the time, you know, after he's done something naughty, I'm saying, Harry, that made me feel really sad. I feel really sad that you've been naughty. Instead of like saying I'm really angry, if I say I feel really sad, he's more likely like, oh, I don't like making mummy sad, and he will usually come over, give me a cuddle and say sorry, which I just feel is so much better than me saying I'm so angry and then he just gets angry, and it just ends up like such a worse situation. So tip number 4 is to assign small responsibilities. So I'm just talking about things like helping me out doing something like putting shopping away, or helping me do cooking, or going and fetching shoes. I just find that 4-year-olds seem to want to be in control a lot more, and by assigning him a responsibility activity. I'm sort of making him feel important and like he's equal, and yeah, I just find that it really helps with his behaviour. So on to tip number 5, it's to develop predictable routines. So I was always a bit of a routine buff when I had Harry when he was little. I just found that I felt better with a routine and he thrived on it too. I'm not talking about like a strict routine, obviously with a 4-year-old that doesn't really happen, but I'm just talking about predictability. So say it's a school morning or a nursery morning, try and make your routine the same, get up at the same time, have breakfast at the same time. It just makes things a lot more easy for your child. They do seem to like routine like that, and obviously school is quite routine and it kind of like gets them prepared for that transition, as well as like making your mornings a little bit easier. So number 6 is to warn of transitions. So what I mean by that is to like warn your child like 10-15 minutes before you have to go. Like say you're at a soft play or something, warn them like 10-15 minutes before you have to leave, so that they know what's coming up. They know what's coming. You can have that battle 15 minutes before you leave and sort of negotiate that time if you need to. It also applies to if you are somewhere and then you're going to be somewhere else, or say you've told them what the plan is for the day and that plan changes. Make sure you let them know. I was really guilty of not telling Harry where we were going all the time when he was younger, and I just used to like cart him from one house to another, one play date to another, and like I don't think he ever really knew what was going on, and he'd get quite frustrated. And then I realised I wasn't telling him, and now he asks what he's doing, so I tell him exactly what we're doing pretty much for the whole week. So I'm like, you've got 2 childminders, then you're at home with mummy, then you're at childminder, then it's the weekend, and he seems to really thrive off of that. He likes to know what's coming next and what to expect. And tip number 7 is a pretty easy one, and that is to hug a lot more. So I know that 4-year-olds, especially boys, can be a little bit reluctant to hug. So when he's in the mood for it, I just make sure I give him lots of hugs and lots of love and kisses, because I want him to feel secure and I want him to feel safe, especially if I've been a bit of a shouty mum that day, which, let's face it, is gonna happen. I know if I tell you to be calm all of the time, it's just not gonna happen. So I think by giving him a lot of hugs and kisses, I am reassuring him that I do really love him, but that it's not okay to be naughty, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna love him any less, if that makes any sense at all. Plus, I just don't think you can have too many hugs, can you? So I hope these tips have been helpful for you. I've really enjoyed watching these sort of videos, and then I thought I've got some tips to bring to the table myself. Let me know below the things that you are struggling with your 4-year-old, and I will see if I can help you some way, or if you've got a tip for me, I would love to hear it. Make sure you go over and check out Jules' channel, because she is an absolute babe and I know you're gonna love her, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!